My fifth edition. Yeah. We're
Live.
live, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we're
are.
live. Yeah, so we're talking about how we're designing a D20 based Vampire the Masquerade supplement, mostly
And
consisting of Clan Zemiche prestige classes.
joke is on
Um,
us. D20 did Monte Cook's World of Darkness, I think.
I think I
This year.
did know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
You
think
don't
I
know
did
how
know
good
that.
that is. Well, I have an inkling.
I think that's an interesting thing with Monty Cook. We obviously both have some love and respect for Monty Cook as a D&D designer. I think there's a weird thing with Monty Cook that he basically, as soon as he stopped working for TSR, he was already a bit of a no games ideas guy. And I think as soon as he stopped working for TSR, it all became a bit more pointed. Like nothing he does after that has even a semblance of reality. I guess
There's like
maybe
nothing.
apart
Well,
from
maybe
yeah.
Numenera.
Yeah, I was about to say apart from Numenera, and I think that's because Numenera obviously does have, and it's interesting because Cordell has ended up designing for them. There's a
Yeah.
sense in which Numenera is meant to be. You should have D&D, but D&D should be. It shouldn't have as many super weird like D20 type artifacts, like mechanical artifacts, and it should be about exploration. So you're like, man, that sounds really cool, except the game doesn't actually really work. I don't think.
Um,
So
I feel Numenera is almost like I'm looking at an alternate version of like fourth edition D&D. I do genuinely
yeah,
feel like that. I don't fucking like all the like three different pools of hit points, basically, of ability score points.
yeah,
It feels very fiddly with all of the you can invoke like various
yeah.
um, you could get XP by letting the DM invoke some sort of consequence. There's all these sort of like
Which
meta
is that's a story
mechanics.
game mechanic. That's a story
Yeah,
game mechanic, obviously. That's
yeah,
not a
exactly.
criticism by the way, it's the mechanic. But it's fair to say in a D&D like game, is that appropriate? And the answer is no,
It had a
because
few
that's
good
not player driven.
ideas, such
Yeah.
as you find basically what is it like oddities or something. It
Mm.
I'm not sure if it quite made sense in the or ciphers or whatever they were called. But
Surface was what. Yeah, that's what.
I'm not sure it made sense in like the whatever the lore of the game. But the idea was just well, people are not using consumables, which is I mean, it's a problem that some DMs even have in old school D&D and in third edition
Yeah.
shit. It's probably even worse. So here the idea is just you have a number of consumables you can carry safely, and after that they basically they become kind of like volatile. You can carry
Yeah.
some of them for a short period of time, but you'll get some sort of messed up chain reaction, and it's just there to sort of you get a constant stream of them, and it's just there to sort of incentivize you to use them. Now the problem is that Numenera is boring and gay, but if it wasn't the case, you would probably be using them. Imagine,
Yeah, I think if the game had challenges you would actually want to face, you'd start using.
Yeah.
I think there's also. I'm trying to remember. Isn't there like a reward system? I say this having read and played the video game, played it once at the table, and read like two supplements.
Terrible. Video game is fucking horrible. I hated that.
Yeah, but I think there's like one. There's one mechanic where you do get benefits from finding stuff, like as it is like almost like you get a skill point to doing this. I forget the exact mechanic. But there's like something like that, and you think, yeah, there is this incentive for going and finding stuff that is more than just like, do you get advanced via the story progressing, or do you get advanced via killing a monster? There's some sense of maybe you should incentivize exploration, but again, none of the modules actually have any like complex maps or anything. It's never like, man, now I'm going to explore like a 3-level dungeon.
Yeah, it's always a 5-room dungeon. The idea of Numenera is always that like the pitch is really good, and if you check out the appendix N for Numenera, it has like M. John Harrison and Book of the New Sun. Who else is on there? Greg Bear, Fred Saberhagen's Changeling Earth, maybe like all of this really awesome stuff. I think probably also some Jack Vance. Like the best, very best of like science fantasies in there, and you're like, this is amazing. And then about halfway through, the core rule book, Monty Cook has written up some sort of village, and you're like, this is so fucking lame. This is so boring.
Yeah,
because it's like all these settings are really distinct, and then he blends them all together, and it's just boring slop. It doesn't matter. It's like 9 ages. Fuck you. They're all boring ages. Yeah, too bad.
Yeah.
Monty Cook's Monte Cook's system, his homebrew darling that he did after he left WotC. Sorry
Great
that
wizards.
by the
Yeah.
way, waking us up from our sort of I guess fugue state where we discuss other non-CAG things. Instead, let us discuss
Yeah.
a fundamentally non-CAG adventure, Winter's Daughter by Dolmenwood. Owen, take it away. What is Winter's
Yeah.
Daughter, and who is Gavin Norman?
Yeah, Gavin Norman is the creator of Dolmenwood. Dolmenwood is an old school setting, kind of British folklore and weird fiction inspired, and it's been going for a long time. It started, and I actually have them here. I don't have all my Dolmenwood books, but I do have enough to be getting on with. It started with Wormskin, which was a zine by Gavin Norman and Greg Gorgonmilk.
Very respected.
Yeah, exactly. Eight volumes, eight issues, which were and the idea was they were gradually releasing, like, here's some hexes, here's a small adventure, here's like a table of things you can do. And then I don't know, I need to go back and check my own records, because I've been there since the middle of Wormskin, and I've run 2 Dolmenwood campaigns. I'm running one now, in fact, with my wife and kids. But it was kind of dark fantasy, which you could dial up or down for taste. It had this kind of cool vibe, and it was based on exploration, going around the map. I think in around 2020, Dolmenwood switched to he did like a closed beta, essentially, of like writing material and releasing it, and then went on to Patreon, and eventually kickstarted the main books, including a set of adventures. One of those adventures was the sort of 3rd edition, is kind of tendentious, I guess, but of Winter's Daughter. Winter's Daughter had come out in an Old School Essentials version. Old School Essentials is Gavin Norman's version of Basic Expert.
For a while, go ahead.
That was the main one, yeah. There was also a 5th edition print, I believe, which I think prints were sum up as the print more money edition, for people who don't want to actually.
Back in the day, yeah, like why not?
Yeah.
Here you go, biggies. Here's some slop. Yeah, you don't even check it.
There was a sort of sub edition change within this, which was that, and we can talk about this, but like the prologue scene, essentially the intro scene, got changed. We can talk about that when we look at it. Then there is, as part of the Dolmenwood system, and I think Prince has only read the OSE version, so we will compare opinions, I guess, when we look at it. But yeah, Winter's Daughter was released as one of the Kickstarter adventures, one of 4 separate books plus one in the campaign book. I like Dolmenwood. I think there are upsides and downsides about various things in it. I think the core loop of going around the map and finding stuff, and at the hex level, is very much CAG friendly. I think Dolmenwood, by the way, I've said this before, but as a system is better than BX. It is very much an acceptance that BX doesn't really function in all the ways you expect it to. But it's definitely on the fringe or the bubble. The big thing is that it is a really popular system / game within our wider community, and it is a really popular adventure in terms of what you see recommended on lists in the kind of bigger spaces, not our elite and incredibly bigoted spaces, but the much bigger, more popular, friendly, welcoming spaces.
Okay, Okay, the casuals.
Yeah.
Well,
The casuals, filthy
I'll say
casuals.
something nice.
Go for it.
Yeah, I remember reviewing Winter's Daughter when it was still called BX Essentials. It wasn't
Yeah. It was originally, because OSE became the sort of like the official branding later. Yeah.
And Gavin Norman has kind of like been around since I remember he did at least one issue of Psychedelic Adventures or something like that.
He did.
Like peak blog OSR, like sort of the what is it? I don't know, second or third wave when retro clones were there. People were gradually moving off of retro clones. There were obviously the lingua franca was still BX, and people started becoming a little bit more creative. And I think Norman, he's built up a reputation, and it's well deserved. And today we're going to take a look at Winter's Daughter. I do stand by my initial statement that probably by what we're looking for today, when we're more on the challenging the players kind of part of the aisle, that there will be some who will scoff at the charms of this particular adventure.
I think what if our pillars that we sometimes use to talk about go to the CAG podcast for Classic Adventure Game podcast for the views of those who coined that particular term. But when we sometimes talk about the pillars of like player driven, challenge focused, and world first. And so I guess we can rate it by that. And certainly in terms of the challenge focus or whatever, I think that'd be an interesting. Yeah, as you say, it'll kind of be an interesting one to talk about. Christopher, I don't know if they are. As in, you're probably right, but I haven't seen that. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting, but it's hard to. It's hard to know how to capture. Not likely possible. I think if at the time it made sense to keep publishing it, it would have continued to be good potentially. But it's there's a lot of water under that bridge in a mystical forest, isn't there? So yeah, I guess we'd have to see.
Well, with that out of the way,
he has an important question because am I leaning like? I don't know. Do you know what? I'll put it on top of a dictionary.
Owen only has money for a very small camera.
Yeah,
it's like for a mouse. It's like Stuart Little's like iPhone.
Yeah.
He's got there.
Can you imagine the Stuart Little film pitch? By the way, that at what point do they reveal it's about a mouse? It's like just a guy who's adopted into a family. He's got a little car. Yeah.
You never told us this was a movie about a cartoon mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, great. We do have Winter's Daughter slide 1. I actually need to make sure I have the hard copy version so I can see what I'm doing. So yeah, here we have these end papers. Can we immediately say, isn't it nice to have maps in the end papers? This is the end paper map of one zone. You can see instantly like it's not going to be an enormous adventure.
That does put me at ease, even though I think that the use of like the 5-foot square makes the entire tomb really, really tiny, like a little baby tomb.
We can look inside here. Here. This is the actual. Let's say there are 3 zones. I'll just introduce this. There are 3 zones to this thing. You are basically going to find out there's a tomb you could go and have a look at. There are different hooks, whatever. There's an outside, there's an inside, and then you can go into one of the plains of fairy. Essentially, for Dolmenwood, it's a mystical forest, and the plains essentially are fairy. And Phrygia, the kind of ice, where the ice elves come from, which is where one of the antagonists of the setting is based as well, who is connected to this. You can go through a portal to there.
Let's start with what's the premise of Winter's Daughter, Owen?
The tomb of an ancient hero lost in the tangled depths of the wood. A ring of standing stones.
You gotta give us box text.
Warded by the sinister Droon cult.
Read it.
A fairy princess.
OSC house style. Cult. Bracket. Sinister.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like sinister. The one thing about Gavin is that the reason a lot of people like Dolmenwood, and this is a controversy we've touched on before, we don't need to touch on today, but has Dolmenwood lost some of its edge? And there's debate there. But I think it's funny that you just imagine someone on r/OSR being like, sinister dream cult, isn't that, othering people who join cults which sacrifice virgins? Whereas Gavin has the courage to say that the Druid are sinister.
Druid should, exactly. Druids.
I'm against it. A fairy princess who watches.
Exactly,
yeah. A fairy princess who watches with timeless patience from beyond the veil of the mortal. A forgotten treasure that holds the key to her heart. That's a nice setup in terms of the kind of appeals to a broad audience, but it definitely is like you're going to go to a tomb and try to find some treasure. It's basically that an elf princess who is the daughter of the Cold Prince and a human knight who is a great warrior for the church had fallen in love.
A long time ago. It's like
a long time ago.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Lovers, ancient. Yeah.
Brackets trope.
That's the idea, but there's something. There's something. There was a good line. No, there's something that we're missing. Yeah, basically, a long time ago, there was a war between fairy and the mortal realm, and during that war, one of the ice prince's, the fairy ice prince's daughters fell in love with a human hero,
and they had their forbidden
Yep.
tryst, and they had I think they had a ring basically as well to sort of like vow eternal love to each other. And it didn't quite work. The ice guy locked her in a tower basically, and I think
Classic
he
ice guy.
eventually, yeah, and he died. So now he's but the ring sort of binds his spirit, prevents him from finding rest. So, and because he was a hero, they built like a little tomb there, and because he started haunting it, they had to abandon the tomb. And now this is the adventure, and I see it has a total of 18,000 gold pieces worth for, if we're that's a pretty decent reward for for what, if we're honest, it's not very hard work. It's actually a pretty easy going adventure, I gotta say.
It's levels 1 to 3. So I'll give some context. I've run this adventure once, and I'm about to run it again. I've started running it. We've started doing the setup now for campaign 2. It was actually, do you know what a sweet moment was that my friend who played in the first campaign was visiting, and he got to play a session as these guys went on the new party went on their adventure to the location. I gave him his character from that campaign to play for the session. I was like, nothing, you now have a high level character for BX helping you. But yeah, I think it's a level 1 to 3 adventure. We will talk about the difficulty in Dolmenwood terms now. There is a level 1 adventure in the book, and that has just about enough to level up most of your characters, maybe not your magic user. And my party, most of them are leveled up. You can also level up by finding other treasure or by doing other mini adventures, because every hex has stuff in it to go and do. This is, if you're a level 1 party, you could just about get through this. I think it's not crazy. If you're like a level 2 party you could level up reliably and fairly comfortably if there are 6 of you. So yeah, you're right. The difficulty curve is odd. Is that by the time you're level 3, the treasure is no longer insanely amazing, but it's very easy.
Except for the two druids, the two redditors at the front entrance, who are, of course, if you're a level 1, they're going to they can cause pretty insane casualties with what is it? They still have the move Dolmen Stone spell or something, like a save versus wand, or everybody takes 46 damage.
So we should talk about this. You've read the old text, the ancient text. Okay, so we will. So that is the background. That is the it is. I'd say Prince is about to be upset by this. That was precisely what was changed. I will explain why in a second. That was the major change between editions. Let's. Prince is about to quit. He's just about to literally. Okay, there are some hooks there. Dreams of the Lady, or Inheritance, or Tomb Robbers. All stuff that makes sense, I guess, as an introduction.
I dream of a lady like that. Yeah, she's real.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah, exactly. You go and rob a tomb to find her. I certainly have.
Okay.
Is this going to be
encounters in the forest?
So,
you can.
So yeah, you have the outside the mound. Yep. So you can have a ghostly violet-eyed owl, goblin merchants who are drunk, a gust of wind that blows lanterns out, a huge warty toad who croaks a single word: betrayal. You can see this is vibes, right? Like if you have an encounter right outside the mound, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But that's kind of okay. Again, I think it's
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also in terms of the original adventure was the low-level Dolmenwood adventure. So you realise actually this was kind of obviously meant to be the first thing you did. So having some of this now, the odd thing was that originally the burial mound had a virgin being willingly sacrificed by some dark wood priests from the Wicca.
Yeah, I still have that. Yeah, that's cool. What did I do with it?
Yeah.
Oh no! What? What?
This is actually still fine. There's like a twitching stag skeleton coating in slime. There's iron owls, which are like symbols of the Droon, and there is moss with covering icy fey figures wailing and writhing as if in torment. So it's still quite atmospheric.
Can we talk about? First of all, not just how they massacred my boy.
Can we talk about OSC machine code like this format?
7 trilithons, 7 foot tall. Rune etched eldritch markings which reflect moonlight. Mossy, clad with dangling beards. What would you like to say about it, Prince?
I fucking hate it. I know that there's there's probably a way to do it. The idea is that you compress information, right, by removing a lot of I guess, what do you call it, the connecting tissue that you usually have in sentences.
Yes,
You just have a series of
you have descriptor work. You have descriptors, basically, don't you? That's the idea. Is you can and I would say I think there are plenty of adventures out there that do that efficiently. Spaghetti Western. What are you confused by? Can we answer? No, you're right. As in, it is an oddity because you can do it, but what happens with the OSE house style, which is now the Dolmenwood house style, is you have it that you more or less find bold words and then you describe the bold words. So it's almost like it's a version of bullet pointing, isn't it? And we've looked at bullet pointed stuff before. It's like, here's the header and here's the stuff you might need to know if you look at the header. 7 trilithons. Oh no, how tall are the trilithons? They're 7 foot tall.
Well, that's fine. Seven foot tall trilithons stand in a circle. Each is etched with runes. Again, covered with eldritch.
Dangling beards of moss cover them. Actually, you're not saving loads of space. One of the ironies here is I think you end up not being able to save lots of space by doing this with some of the descriptions. But yeah, I run these adventures in the sense I run them from the book, so I live with it. But it does seem odd that some of them seem to work well. And that's a good summary. But other times it just is this absurd sort of Esperanto.
When it's poor, it's almost like you need to install like a sort of an extra what do you call it, like zip or WinRAR in your brain, basically, before you kind of picture it. It's like you have to give it a little extra tap, and then you're like, oh, okay, it looks like this. So the sacrifice was meant to introduce you to the fact. Let me just give some context on that though, because that has a relevant thing. Prince is angry about it, so we might as well sum it up. The sacrifice was meant to be here was just a really weird Dolmenwood thing. There are Wicker Man style pagan priests, one of the major factions. They are at the stone circle and they sacrifice a young woman. You think you should interfere, but the young woman doesn't want you to because she understands it's part of the way that the wood is going to be preserved and saved, etc. Part of a crazy ass pagan druid religion, but that's why they all gotta go. That's why you have to put them to the sword and take their stuff.
The one problem was that as a level 1 or 2 encounter, though, it was hard. It seemed like a pretty instant way to die. I think it was a bit out of place because it didn't connect to the other stuff. It was a bit like I think it's because it was obviously meant to be here's a module to introduce into Dolmenwood. Here's a crazy thing at the start. And so then it made sense that it was changed. It's changed to this much more just pure atmosphere. There's some weird owls representing the Droom. There's a twitching skag skeleton covered in green slime. That kind of works, but it is a thing where obviously you've taken away something. When people talk about the edge of Dolmenwood and the way in which it was edgy, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a compliment, but they do, people do feel that's a loss.
Is it still an interactive encounter, or is it now just like a bunch of statues that we?
As well, you can see, it's just it's not interactive other than that you can investigate. So it's investigative. You can clear the moss. You can, and natives of Dolmenwood recognize owls as symbols of the Droom.
Man, here,
so you get some information. Yeah,
here you just see him stand like the two hooded, like in the original version. They're there in the center, mumbling incantations. One of them is holding like a silver curved knife aloft. They have these owl-shaped golden torques going, and essentially you can just interact with them. They don't attack immediately.
No. It's not an automatic combat. No. Yeah.
And they're formidable too. So it's actually a pretty decent encounter. It saddens me that they got rid of that, and instead we have some boring ass twitching stag skeleton to tide us over. Like, okay.
Yeah. I would say it's the way the end papers used to be was arguably some people would prefer, which is that there was a summary version of the key in the end papers in the original edition as well. Whereas now it's just a map.
Imagine having you're already doing you're doing machine code to compress, but then you're also like, no, we we also need like a summary version. We need that in the back of the map. I don't know. It's a 20-page adventure, guys. It's not rocket science.
I think this is one of the things. Must have seen this. If nothing else, I think it comes up occasionally on not some of the Discords we're in, but some of the others that that you get banned from. But
that I banned from,
yeah. But occasionally, you must have seen this on Reddit or on Discord, something where someone comes in and says, "Hey guys, I have tried to read Winter's Daughter, or I've tried to read." Like, I'm trying to think of another good example, but that kind of, I mean, sometimes it's Keep on the Borderlands, albeit that's literally slightly harder. But they'll be like, I've tried to read Winter's Daughter, and it's impossibly long and difficult. And I'm about to run for my friends. We all work in computer science or something. Like, okay, this is weird, but like we all work in, and we just need. It's just too hard for us. Are there easier adventures out there for me to play with my friends? And of course, the answer.
Karn.
At some level, it's almost like the Chief Cairn. It's the Chief Cairn kind of vibe, isn't it?
Illiterate.
But of course, even there, the real problem is the person doesn't want to read. I actually think often what you realise, it's a bit like. I remember I had a friend once being like, "Can you just sum up all of I think it's Berkeley? Can you sum up all of Descartes or Berkeley's arguments in like just a page or like a couple of paragraphs for me? Because I'm not really sure it's going to be worth me reading." And I was like, "Well, it might not be worth you reading, but I can't sum it up like that. I can tell you what the guy says, but I can't tell you why it's a good argument. That's not how arguments work. It's the thing that when you want to bypass or cheat the process, and that when the process in this case is very easy." It might not be about your intelligence, but it is a mark about whether or not you can do the thing you're talking about. You can't do philosophy if you will not engage with arguments. You cannot play D&D unless you are willing to understand how an adventure works. You can't be like,
that's true. But if I want to
just
like know what was he about, so I can just I'm semi-conversant. I don't really understand the basis of his argumentation, but I have like a surface level understanding of what he said, just general knowledge.
Yeah, indeed. Christopher says the brief description is quite good. Well, I think that's part of the argument, Christopher, is that it's not so much about like you should save page space, but that it should be quickly readable. So you put bold headers and stuff. I think there are good examples out there. I think the particular example here of like 7 trilithons brackets 7 foot tall, that seems like an absurd example, but we were saying there are definitely examples where it's done better. And yeah, you're right. The stone circle thing is odd because it seems like a bit of a half encounter, as you say, almost like an encounter table thing. And I think that is because there was a fully designed interactive encounter there, and it needs to be replaced, allegedly. Views are varying.
Well, yeah, like and you've got. I think I advocate for this somewhere in a blog post somewhere, right? But I talk about it. The idea is that you start off your dungeon with like a set piece that kind of sets the mood. And I think one of the best ones is unironically is like B1, In Search of the Unknown, because you're going into like this layer of other that used to belong to 2 very mighty adventurers, Rogan and Zeligar, and they've gone missing on an expedition over the hills, and you come there, and you go through it, and then it's 2 voices like who enters the abode or something, or the domain of Rogan and Zeligar, and then another voice is like only a fool in search of his death, and then they begin like maniacal laughter, and it's like 2 magic mouths. It's so good. And then you move further, and the first thing you see is just it's like a site of battle. It's like a couple of dead adventurers and a couple of dead inhabitants. And it sets and then 5 different places you can go, right? 5 different corridors. And it kind of sets the mood, I think, brilliantly for what you're about to do. It's like one of the best openings ever. There's other ones that are equally good, of course. But like here, this fucking stag, who cares? It has nothing to do with what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I get it. It gives you the slime. The slime is going to come up again, though, isn't it? To be fair. But yeah, it's not relevant. No,
I guess.
I agree. It's something where you can investigate it, and you can find out some incredibly basic information about the area,
right?
And you can see the stag. No, I think it's a perfectly reasonable kind of like moment in the scene. It's just very basic. But anyway, I mean, you go to the tomb entrance.
Sure. Yeah.
You can move the slab, or you can break the slab. This is either you need lots of strength, or you need to take 6 turns, which will trigger checks on the random encounter chart, because it's every 2 turns you make a check.
Although,
and
if you look
yeah.
at the strength bonuses, I guess if you are just like a party full of patsies, then probably you will be eating those random encounters and get knocked unconscious by owls.
Yeah,
Your torch blown out.
yeah. I was going to say, the strength bonuses in the yeah, it does depend. So I mean, Dolmenwood has is old school essentials or BX, but with some stuff from advanced and some setting specific stuff.
So
Characters tend to be slightly more competent, but it's not. There is also a slightly different skill system, which is, by the way, actually probably one of the more serious and sensible ones put out there since since NWPs, including NWPs, is probably the simplest and most sensible. You essentially get a small bonus based on your stat, and you're usually rolling 5 or 6. And
that sounds fine. And even here, I like it that he makes a sort of like trade off between even though it's just a flat, it's binary, it's either or it's just going to be combined strength of 40 plus, then you can
even
move
though
it.
it's
Otherwise, no open doors check, nothing, fine,
Yeah.
or you can break through. But that's fine. At least there's a sort of like, I guess, a kind of like trade off. It doesn't really matter in this case because the time is not a currency outside, because the random encounters are essentially just nuisance based. But this general concept or idea is fine. Just in this adventure, it doesn't
the original version had the rule: moving the slab requires cumulative strength bonus of at least 4. Breaking the slab takes 6 turns. If the ritual in area 2 is still underway, the hooded men are not happy about the noise.
Yeah, why they're not happy? It's because according to this this scale here, they'd be about 10 yards away trying to do their ritual.
We're trying to sacrifice this virgin, okay?
You're basically the back of your party is basically like scraping against their poor standing stone. You're bumping into them.
I like the idea. Like, oh, don't mind me. Keep doing what you're doing. We're just workmen here for the tomb. Don't worry about me. Don't mind about me. And you're smashing this tomb open. There is an alternative entrance there, at the bottom of which you will find some worms that try to eat you. But so there's another way in. This is super basic. Explore the environment and find an alternate route in. Perfectly good starting thing.
Wait. First one. That's why this is kiddie mode. Like I do like it. There's obviously the cool thing was the druids, dude. Anyway, no, I do like that there's like a back entrance. I don't like it that you can essentially, again, it's probably 10 yards away. If you look at all, you'll instantly find it. And there's not. I mean, I guess it's okay. There's some slime down there. You might be like, this gooey slime coming from this hole. I'm not sure about this, gang. You got a little bit of titter. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
No, indeed, it's something. You're right. It's kiddie mode, but I mean, it kind of. I wonder whether if you were to approach this and think this is just a learning module, that kind of thing functions better. I think the problem is, it's as something where, let's say I was going to be like, guys, we're going to run a Dolmenwood campaign. You'd be like, oh, great, it's a cool setting. I'd like to do some of the stuff. And I was like, okay, your hooks include Winter's Daughter. You're going to be like, oh, great. So I walk around the mount. You see another entrance. Oh, okay. It becomes an almost trivial sort of thing for a player who knows how to play.
Whereas if you would have had them, like, I don't know, if they have to probe, if they have to like do something besides just like okay, we walk around, I guess. Well, there's another entrance. Thanks. Okay, what does it look like? Is it any good? Nah, it's like slime on it. Oh.
Do you want to go down there? Yeah.
I guess I'll take the
entrance. So then you've got the burial mound. You have another random encounter table, which consists of 2. This one is 2 vibe-based ones and 2 combat-based ones. Albeit one of them, they don't automatically attack. The floating skeletons don't automatically attack you. But the worm tongues will. So you start to get things become a bit more dangerous here. And there's this thing, if you enter via the front entrance, there are religious objects, and the religious objects flip out when non-lawful characters come nearby.
They speak in a shrill, sanctimonious tone, scolding the PCs for their misdeeds. Okay, all right, I like that. Okay, sure.
Let me just check if that's
throwing his childhood hang-ups
with a nasty religion. He was always drawing maps, but he had to stop and go to church. And he's trying to work through.
Yeah. I was going to say, interesting. There was no speech note. So that the speech note on the original one is not under that. It says under the stat block. While animated, they do that. So yeah, there's some reorganization. In common, presumably. Waldish would be the local name.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, and here we can wait. Here there is actually here there is something like you know, the floor is dusty, and I don't see it. Like dusty floor, comma, conceals a mosaic. No, wait, don't read that. Shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
oh wait, no, it's obviously the right. So dusty floor. But here at least you can kind of like if you do the first investigation, and then there's an inscription in old Woldish. You see like a cool ass kick ass knight, and then the scratches as well, I guess. So I mean it is sort of like I do like that as like an entry piece after you're done bashing these minor threats.
The minor threats do, and this is the same in the original ones. They don't. So the original ones, I'm just looking to see if it's exactly the same. So they when killed, they do one. You save less poison or suffer 1d2 damage and choke for 1 round. Turning is interesting. He's added in the ability to turn them back, which I don't believe is in. No, it's not in the original. So there's treasure wise. You've got some 300 GP of holy stuff. I think it's interesting that a party could try to work out why the religious objects are attacking them. Like what? They're not going to attack the whole party, I guess. You think they'd attack? Yeah. You can't. It's not. They're not interactable enough, are they? They kind of. I think this has been. I've heard criticised before. Is they kind of just attack. What you want is them to attack, and I think I ran it like this. They attacked the non-lawful member of the party. In fact, I think I had a couple of non-lawful members, so they attacked them.
Or they attack unless you whatever you recite some sort of like lawful prayer. If you want to go interactive on it, then you do it like that. Now it's just going to be binary, and they are going to attack. It's fine. Whatever. Moving on.
I was going to say, John does say after quipping about the philosophy thing, if an adventure can be summarized in a ton of brief bullets, the actual witnesses come from the DM. I agree. I think the emptier, the kind of simpler the adventure is to read, in that sense, not in terms of good information presentation, the less you're getting from the adventure. I agree.
I think we talk about this probably, definitely on Discord, maybe also in a blog. But the point is that it's almost like at some point you had a sort of a revolution in, I call it like the usability standard, and I call it that because Bryce Lynch started reviewing adventures and judging them primarily based on how easy they were to use. And this was a big thing. I'm convinced this is one of the things that kind of like changed the way things were,
I think it did. No, I think it did. Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Yeah. And I
blame Bryce.
At that point, or at a certain point, that it was almost like a weird irony that the adventures that had the best layout were almost invariably fairly short. And you would be able to, even if you just used good old-fashioned paragraphs, they would be intelligible because it's like 20 rooms. There's not a great deal of complexity. Whereas the adventures that would most benefit from the kind of complexity reduction that you would get from all of these sort of like all of this layout wizardry, they tend to like be in dire need of it and make almost no use of it at all. I think this one. It errs a little bit on the side of that. It's actually fine. I don't hate Gavin Norman's done here.
No. So you've got a couple more rooms obviously here to either side of the entrance. So if you come in the front entrance,
there's a blindfolded statue here, and that's that's been dragged here, right? He's drawing attention to that. But why? What does it do?
So it's particularly what it's doing. It's been dragged from Area 7, so it was on the other side by the freezing mirror. It's Call of Silence, and it's facing the stairs down to Area 14. It also has a blindfold which has the cross on the inside, basically the chappies. which is originally just in the original is described as crucifixes, as in the chapies is a crucifix.
Oh, okay, but that would
Yeah.
upset certain.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing where it's not clear whether. I think it depends whether it's more offensive to people who would like, you could conceive of such thing being offensive to Christians and to people who are not very pro-Christian.
No, it's against people who like putting things up their butt. No, that's why they call it.
Thanks for the inside, Prince. Yeah.
Right. Listen, I'm here to tell the truth.
He calls it how he sees it. I see. Yeah.
I know these things.
Having gone to all these people's clubs, you understand.
The Netherlands. Who else?
Exactly. Yeah.
If not me, is like the best.
The expert.
Observer. Okay.
So then you have on the other side you have a freezing mirror, which is facing the stairs, and which if you look in, you could be frozen still. But I should say holy water, sunlight, and lesser healing. Which is cure light means.
This is a cool ass obstacle for a low level dungeon to have like a mirror. The only thing is, again, you can cover the mirror. Hopefully, you can cover yourself. Can you go past it? And if you're blindfolded, then it would make sense, because then maybe if you're charitable, like the blindfolded elf statue would be some sort of hint. Although, of course, it's a mirror. It's not like, this is freezing us if we step in front of it. We should put something in front of it so we don't get. It's pretty obvious. But it's a cool ass effect, though. I like that, and they gave it money here.
Mm-hmm. It also was behind the empty. It was behind the empty statue plinth. So there is a thing where, if one of your comrades gets frozen, and this happened to my party, did it? Was one of them got frozen, and they did just remove him. So we've got to take him back to a settlement, and then he melted with the sunlight, which is good. I think the idea that you have a really heavy effect, it's a bit like how I like having weaker ethereal undead who just do like temporary strength loss or temporary whatever loss, rather than like how shadows do. And I think there's a similar thing here where it is a petrification spell, but it's one that is easily solved, and that as a low level effect teaches you about the fact in 2 or 3 levels you're going to have that just happen, and you think, when it happens later we'll need different tools, I guess. I think that's okay.
You can lug it around the dungeon and petrify other things with it. That is kind of cool. I mean, mostly theoretical again, because this dungeon has like 3 enemies in it. Most of which are undead. It's nice, I guess. Maybe it's a good. It's a nice idea. Yeah, I agree. This is in terms of his earlier question. In terms of this version of the adventure, this is probably the first bit where you're like, there's a couple of clever bits here. It's not amazing, but it is actually okay. So how do we resolve this? What do we do with this? Is it usable? Yeah, can we do something? The dancing skeletons.
Yep. So these are members of Chide's parents, I think, but who are not automatically. Basically, they are happy for you to hang out and join the dance. They dance because they have the slime vapor, so they can fly around. But they are able to. They can't really remember their former lives, but they remember their family. So this is an interesting one, because you actually have a genuine interaction choice of, do you find out some information, if any, they might have about Sir Chide? Do you just kind of accept not getting the treasure and just look at what else there is, or do you try to rob the stuff and get not really any
It's another one. I do think it's nice that he specifies that they have dark side in this edition, in case. And they have he added damage reduction. I do like that. The original one. Whack them. With these skeletons. Wait, don't they have? Oh, okay. Just the weapons become weightless, and I guess they sort of fly or something like that.
They have fly speed 30. Yeah, they're fast. They're dangerous. Yeah. I would say maybe the funny thing is that if you're like, I'll fight them to. I mean, what do you think? If you fight them and then kill them and loot the coffers don't really have anything.
No, but they do. Like they both have like a big fat pearl necklace. That's actually I do like that. In a dungeon, you just put monsters there that are not.
The skeletons do, but the coffers don't. The coffers don't, but the skeletons do.
Exactly.
So the thing that might cause you to clash with them, they don't attack you. You start looting their family graves. Their family graves are worthless, but they are. Yeah. I think it's a clever inversion, I guess you could say. Yeah.
You've already rewarded people, but I do like the idea of just having encounters where the enemies they don't immediately pounce you. You have some time to interact with them, but you do nevertheless you kind of tempt people into attacking them. Now they're only 2 hit dice, and they do about a D4 damage. They can fly. I think again, these guys have no chance. You're gonna tear through these like no tomorrow. But
yeah, I was going to say the religious objects. There are 4 religious objects which are 1 HP 3, 3, 4, 5, and these guys are 2nd level, so they are 2 HD with HP 8 and 10. They are literally slightly better, but I think one thing I realise I'm running Baba Yaga's hut for a fair just at the start of high level party at the moment. Really good fun. Obviously, this is the Lisa Smedman version.
Oh, I know that one.
I wrote a review. It's a great module. It's interesting because the way it challenges the players is by draining them. The whole thing is loads of encounters are with dangerous monsters, but when you've got 6 PCs, it's not that bad. But the big thing is that you just get drained, because you're going through half your casters can't renew their spells, things like that. And it's interesting. You're like, oh yeah, they fought an Abishai, like a fairly tough Abishai. What did they just fight this past session? I'm trying to even remember what they fought. But yeah, they like fight one really tough monster. It takes a while. It takes a few rounds, and the monster does some damage to them. But then they sort of just get over it. Do you know what I mean? Like they can get through it, and I think that's okay in Baba Yaga. But in this kind of module, each of these is quite gentle, and I guess you might lose some hit points, and so maybe it drains spells. You're going to have to use heals, but you're not going to be spending much time doing it. And again, for a more experienced party of players, this is like the opposite of what's it even called, the Raji module.
What's the Tower of the Stargazer or Death Frost?
Tower of the Stargazer, yeah, Tower of the Stargazer. Tower of the Stargazer is funny. It says it's an introductory module, but of course it's actually quite tough. This is an introductory module that is actually very introductory. You're like, yeah, there's just 2 skeletons. You'll realize that using your spear doesn't work very well, so maybe someone will use a hammer. Again, seem like that, I find this much more kind of like, oh yeah, that's fine. I think again in this hypothetical where we're playing, and you're one of the players, you're going to be like, oh, okay, 2 skeletons, great. It's going to be over instantly.
They're floating around. It's fine. Yeah. I think this adventure, as we'll see when we get to the rest, I think it does the atmosphere very well.
Yeah, it does. This is a great scene. Remarks, I think. Yeah,
are more about like the I guess the challenge aspect of it. Here again,
I think there's the slime is interesting as well, because if you touch the slime, you save versus spell or you're coated in slime, and then you float. So that's kind of interesting. I think with my party, they end up having to they roped the guy like a balloon who this did happen to, and just carried him along. Because otherwise the guy, you can kind of swing along at the ceiling level more or less.
There's some sort of anti-gravity slime. Yeah, I noticed that too, where he puts like yellow mold in the game as well as like very clearly slime, but instead of just melting you or destroying your armor or just killing you, the effects are always like very light. It's like again, kid gloves are on. Just don't worry, kid.
Yeah, and this is the thing that he has commented on. Gavin has commented on to do with the Dolmenwood release, that there are far fewer. For instance, save or die is rare. There are some save or die things, but they're far rarer than in BX. And this is partly said this is actually my preference. And I think a tough thing is you either can be cynical and say, oh no, he's just people don't like dying and he wants the mass market. But actually, it is not an uncommon opinion. It's not an opinion you and I share as much, but it is an opinion plenty of people share. And obviously there's some sense where he's wanted to be like, can we have some of that challenge meaningful, more than meaningful than in 5e, but just in a way that's less intense, less often. And I appreciate that. I just, I would say we have Threes of Trees says, my party newcomers fell into the fissure and fell down into fairy, apparently. The fall is harmless, I should say. But yes, good job, new party, falling into Fairy on their first mission and getting lost.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
A chapel.
The chapel since
cool in the chapel? No. A secret door, I guess. It's concealed behind the tapestry, but you do have to look.
Yeah. The chapel since Edge again, some of this is odd in a way, but then there are always empty rooms. The only thing with this having a relatively high number of empty rooms is that meaningfully that the tomb itself has about 11 rooms. So you can have one empty room. You know, it was also like, look, your allotment is one empty room.
They don't always need to have like somebody leap from behind a hole and attack you, but they do need to have something in them. Okay, so what's behind? Well, we're checking behind the. This is fine.
Yeah,
right?
Again, see it as empty room. See it as empty room. By the way, I should say layout. I want to pause. Actually, say that I appreciate layout which has room maps on the right rooms. Like you have end papers with 4 maps. I think it just actually helps when you're flicking between stuff to understand. You know, I don't have to refer to 2 pages to get the immediate context. So good. The abandoned priest quarters. This is where there are worm tongues. This is the alternate route in, and the worm tongues did kill a character in my party because you go down, and I think more or less it happened that they came down, and then these guys just bit the first guy down and killed him. You know, it's like one of those. They're not.
Armor class 12 is that base? Is the base AC or is that AC 8?
AC is 7, so it's on a 19 scale.
Okay.
AC 7, HD 1+1, attack 1, 1d4 plus acid. Thaco 18, which so that's one thing is actually the Thaco 18 has been removed here. They're Thaco 20 here. So that's been slightly softened. Move is the same. Saves are going to be the same.
Elephants.
I
mean, I guess I like it that, like, when they bite you, it kind of gives you a reason. You have to wash it off, so that's a good. Like,
environmental effects.
Water skin there, pal. Did you bring a water skin? Yeah.
No, and it's one of those things. Again, it's an introduction mechanic, isn't it? It's like, look, man, something's happening. What do you do? That kind of thing. And
I was thinking if this was Lamentations of the Flame Princess, right? And they don't have a water skin, you're like, there's another way you can make water. You can stop the acid.
Well, it'd be like wash off with water or urine. Thanks, Reggie.
Enter magical realm immediately. Okay, sorry.
You will be like, man, I thought I was playing D&D here, and then Raj is like, no.
No. Okay, that's the LTFP version. Very good. Okay, so there's 3 worm guys.
We have a
poison eel that does. Okay, all right. Credit where it's due. There's the treasure is in a non-obvious place, but you should have the what do you call it? If you have the right sort of instincts, probably maybe you'll find it. Or at least an extra search might reveal this sort of loose flagstone.
I was going to say an interesting change here is the loose flagstone in the original is a search for secret doors or traps will find it. Loose flagstone, a successful search check or carefully tapping the floor will find it. I appreciate that. That is actually something I tend to have adopted from my old school Renaissance days. Is the idea that actually just reasonable descriptions of exploration do count. Like it's not bad to be like, I observe the object and ask these questions is a good way to play the game. It shouldn't be a thing where you're trying to trick your DM into giving you information. That should be part of the contract involved. Is that you are. That there are obvious rules and reactions and stuff. But the idea of someone saying, I tap the floor, well, if there's a pressure plate there, you're going to die. But if there's not one, you're going to find the secret flagstone.
I agree with that.
There is a lock. You can unlock it if you like. It is trapped. Is this the lock is trapped even if you could successfully unlock it, or is it if you force it, do you think, or if you unsuccessfully? I mean,
no, this is definitely one where it's going to go off if you fuck with it.
That's how it reads, even though that's not how I typically do it myself.
But
it's a non-trivial punishment, by the way. 1d6 damage at first level. Not great.
And you're knocked out for 6 turns. It's actually pretty good for a first level trap. I don't mind that.
Yeah, and even for your second level party, it's irritating because it could still knock someone out. It could still genuinely take someone out. But inside the box, you have
you get another. You're
Yeah.
knocked out for 6 turns, and you get another apparition of a ghost lady. You're like,
Yeah.
You get
why are you so
months away from
stupid? Stop getting knocked out. Yeah. And inside the box, you've got 1 HP heals. You've got a lot of 1 HP magic potions. You've got.
Those are. I don't mind those at all. That's fine.
Yeah, I think consumables like that. It's a bit like, I mean, as you know, I allow my casters to have 1 0th level spell a day playing AD&D. And that is either Cantrip, which is Minor Illusion, basically, or Orison, which has like 3 main uses. The most important which is Cure Minor Wounds, 1 HP. So the idea of having a consumable, which is 20 times 1 HP potions, feels okay. I think it's one of those things where you can imagine someone reading this and being like, that's not the old school way. That's way too much healing. No, just feel free to use them then. It's the same as like 4. It's the same as 4 healing potions, I guess. But good.
In general, giving people extra consumables, I've never found the game to suffer if you give them a few extra consumables or healing potions or something like that, especially at lower levels, because it's good if they're a little bit starved for resources, but in the beginning, I guess in AD&D you could just have a guy lugging around 3 Cure Light Wound spells, and it's not quite so bad. But that healing just means that they'll be able to delve a little bit farther before they go back to town. So it's totally fine. It gives them more options.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I should say on the Moldy writing desk there is a clue for opening doors later. One of the dogs is called Flagir. His 2 dogs. One is called Flagir.
That Gavin Norman does in this this little beautiful walking simulator. There's actually a reason to you investigate, and then I think there's a double door later on, and then you
there is, and you need to know the dogs' names. Flagir and Chedir.
The other ones I think I'm trying to think like on some sort of mural. It was okay. And then otherwise the 2 stone dogs near the double stone doors, they animate and they attack you. And the riddle on the door isn't what were my 2 dogs' names, but it's we'll get to
Course the companions. We'll get to it. Course the companions.
Yeah. Basically, it was cryptic enough so that you would be able to get it.
But not so. It was cryptic enough that it was not non-trivial, but not so cryptic you couldn't actually get it. John says the adventure was seen as a revelation by a subset of the hobby because a few rooms have interesting gameplay decisions for players, while it still has the dramatic plot they think elevates the game. It has a story behind it. I should say, John, I don't see the latter as an implicit inherent criticism. It's rather what you're about to say, which is actually that they don't. When we say, there is a story to the dungeon, that's fine because you go and find it out by going around exploring. Of course, the problem is you've got people who kind of want to feel like they get what they're doing when they're playing a game is they are role playing, being sad elf girls.
When we're thinking about it though, like in a good adventure, like say, and I just off the top of my head, there's a little adventure called Palace of Unquiet Repose, right? And it was written by me.
Oh, that's by Yorkshire Gal. Yorkshire Gal, yeah.
No, I did that. And in that adventure that I wrote, that was really good. I tried something, right? And what my idea was is that I'm going to have a backstory too. And I did, right? There was like lore behind it. There's a purpose behind the tomb because I like that. But I feel it's almost like you have to earn that by incentivizing the players to interact with it, right? That's kind of like, and I was not the first person to invent that by any means, right? Or to do that by any means. But the idea is that, like, if you put some sort of like purpose behind your dungeon, what you want is a situation where your players, they can get something extra. If you want to go really deep, they can get something the bestest, coolest stuff. They can only get there if they figure out what's going on, like as a reward. You kind of reward them for digging a little bit deeper, trying to figure out.
This is kind of the Soulsvania approach. This is like a Soulsvania approach, isn't it? Like that kind of get the lore out of all the little notes, piece it together, and use that to explore further. Which is, as I say, that's like the one thing you see in certain Metroidvanias of the last 10 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The last
drawing
10
on Dark Souls, obviously, originally. Yeah. Oh, so
Right.
Drawing on Dark Souls, obviously.
Exactly.
And I think that is relevant to D&D. I think it's definitely a relevant game genre, suffice to say.
What John, I think, what he points his finger at, that I'm not actually sure how much. I'm not that sure about like how much figuring out. How much the premise really interacts with the adventure. I mean, I guess the knight is there. You can at some point you're like, oh, okay, I guess. But as soon as you get into fairy, the elf bint is gonna ask you to like, please bring the damn ring. But otherwise,
do you mean as it becomes kind of simple, is what you're saying? Like you get there and you are told, by the way, this is how you solve the problem. Yeah,
right.
Like it's not like you have to investigate to find the good ending.
It's almost like it's almost like the dungeon. Could exist on its own, and the premise is bolted to it, but it's not. They're not completely joined and fundamentally inextricable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it has a good example of figuring out like, hey, what's going on is like actually, ironically, finding the dog names.
Yeah, because you've bothered investigating multiple locations.
Yeah, you're like, hey, what's going on?
I think the dog puzzle is quite good. It sounds stupid, right? Why isn't it just finding two names and say, yeah, sure? But at the level of, you either can just fight these dogs, they're not the dogs themselves, obviously, the stone hounds, or you can have done enough due diligence that you have the clues. And I find players tend to be willing to do that stuff, and it's not that hard, but it's satisfying to have spent the tiny bit of extra time to do the thing that benefits you.
It kind of rewards you for the idea of like that you do actually dig a little bit deeper, and you don't just think, okay, next room, what is here, how much treasure. You do go, okay, wait a minute, what is this supposed to kind of like represent? What are we doing here? This belongs to some sort of knight. What's going on? Call my companions. What do they mean? 2 dogs? Wait a minute, we read about dogs the other day. You wrote that down. They're Italians. Why they talk like that?
No, of course, it's our friend Pizza, isn't it? It's him playing dog. Can you imagine?
Also, this one was a little bit confusing because I believe the sword is actually. Oh no! Wait. Yeah, there's 7 statues of footmen. Oh no! Wait. The one of the footmen is wielding the fairy sword, whereas the knight's hand is wielding his own unique sword. Is that right, or is it the same fucking sword?
So is that in the mural? That basically there's mold all over the murals. So there's an interesting thing, classic thing here actually, that the mold is the easy yellow mold you were talking about. You do take damage, 1d4 damage and coughing.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's so it's again the gentle yellow mold. But then the mural, if you clean the mold off somehow, you can both find out the name of the other dog, Cheddar, and you see a knight holding a long sword.
Oh, the sword that you just found. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
And so that will then teach. Yeah, exactly. So what you know is there is a mace, a club, a battle axe, a warhammer, a longsword, a halberd, and a spear. But only one of these is the weapon of Sir Chide.
And that's the point of it. It would be. I mean, you could probably carry off most of this stuff, but I do like it as a means of like sort of hiding in plain sight that you have a bunch of different weapons, and then like only one is the one you kind of want, and then there's a clue buried to which one you actually want. Like,
again, it kind of feels like an introductory version of doing that. It's literally in the same room. John says, "I think it's too small for the full value of the discovered understanding to pay dividends."
I actually agree, but I think in the sense of what do you call it? In the sense of like using a mechanism like that, where it could be much more effective, right? But at least it rewards it like a little bit, right?
Yeah, a big thing is that there is obviously the know-how and the ability. Gavin, it does have the ability to put these things in and make them work. It's just you want to see that happen. I guess that's the temptation. Is you're like, I want this to happen on a bigger scale. I guess is what some of us are saying.
Well, another one is if you go to those dogs, right?
That's next. That's next. We're at the dogs next. Yeah.
Oh, they're actually kind of tough. Oh, I hadn't expected that. Very good.
Yeah, And so, having done the
These dogs
investigation
will actually
means
probably these are gonna molest you. You're gonna fucking die to these dogs.
one d8 damage. Yeah, I mean, if you it's still the upper level party doing this, the third level party on this adventure might be fine because they're just going to be putting out enough damage, enough options, and have enough armor and stuff and enough hit points. The first level party is going to die if they fight them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
they were a bit they were not as tough, I guess, or actually, yeah, they were in the original one as well. Yeah,
they're the same. They're the same.
4 hit dice. So
Mhm.
yeah, so this is, I guess, the one instance where they're actually really, really bad.
Yeah,
I guess,
and you
doesn't
massively
really telegraph
benefit from
this.
no. I guess they are. Let's have a think. They are
big.
large.
That's good.
They are larger than you are. They are larger than human.
Okay, very good.
So
yeah,
I don't want to fight a gigantic stone dog that's larger than me.
6 foot tall stone hounds. You're okay.
Yeah.
All right, they look pretty imposing, pretty damn big.
Yeah. So yeah, there's massive stone inscription. It's locked and warded. If you touch the doors, they animate an attack. I guess I would probably adjudicate that if you then spoke their name, I'd still let them, dial down.
Or you, or you cause them to go, they go dormant after a while. That's fine too. But this is all right. I like this.
Just go through
miniaturized feel to it. That's damn true. It's not only small in scale; it's also actually literally small because of the 5 feet corridors.
Yeah. But no, you could imagine. Let's say you can imagine this being a 30-room dungeon with a larger area and ferry as well. Let's just imagine it's 3 times the size, and and that's, by the way, I think Gavin Norman is a good enough designer, having read a few of his things, that he has some now so he can do this stuff. You can imagine it being a bit bigger and being like, man, that's really good. And possibly that's one thing is there are each, how far each of these things. There is one really big challenge you found so far, which is these dogs. The worm-tongues can kind of ambush you and kill you, but other than that, it's all a bit, okay, you go through this nice little mini puzzles. Yeah. James K says, good evening. Good evening, James.
Good evening.
Good to have you with us. And yeah, so I don't think any of this means it's bad. I think it's a good adventure. I think it's just, I think that is a salient critique, is that what's happening is you'll get it by good. I mean, it's fun. I've run it once. I'm looking forward to running it for that group was adults. This will be my wife and kids. My wife wasn't actually in the other group as well, to be fair. But like, I look at it and I'm like, I think some of the mechanical interactions, the way in which you're using the actual rules of D&D, but you're using them on a sort of, as you say, almost like safety wheels. Not quite easy. You can still die, but like the safety wheels of, there's a fairly simple puzzle. It's in the same room. I think that's something which will be a good challenge for the kids. But that's kind of maybe part of my comment is, maybe it's all a bit soft for a more experienced party. I agree.
Yeah, exactly that, actually.
Yeah. And also small. So it's something which, again, is going to suit well a group where you want to spend a couple of sessions in it and get through it and feel like, we've had some fun. Whereas for a party that's really looking for, like, I want a big dungeon, it's going to be fairly frustrating, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, John makes a good point here. I think the module's significance, it became a massive hit, is partially by smuggling good things from an audience intimidated by 70 rooms or no obvious tension to provide a narrative emotional climax. So, you say to people, we've got a great module, and you don't say it's got 70 rooms, but you're like, it's a 70 room module, you're just exploring it. I've occasionally run games where players are like, and I'm talking about adult players, they're like, what's the objective? You're like, well, what do you want the objective to be? Or like, and people will sometimes find it stressful that there's not an obvious end point. I don't even mean about storytelling. I just mean like in Doom, you finish the level, right? You go through and shoot some stuff and you get to the next bit.
Right.
And I think sometimes people find that difficult, right? And I think so it's helping a variety of people who want to sense that there's some obvious point to what they're doing, and also they're not going to be doing this for years. And I'm not saying you want to help people develop an instinct for more stuff. And if nothing else, when I think about my kids, my now 9-year-old, he turned 9 recently. He will play and we've currently got Mark Simonich's The US Civil War out on the table for another day or so. He's like, I just want to play the whole thing. Like, it's like a 27 turn game or something. A whole game will take 27 hours or maybe a bit less, like 22 hours or something, from start to finish, or if you're at a moderate pace, quicker if you're very good. We're not going to do that, but he's like, yeah, I want to do that. So he can cope with long stuff. But yeah, obviously other people can't. My 6-year-old, nearly 7-year-old, he will struggle more. So it's good for him to have there's an objective with doing this. Threes of Trees says, would you put the Dream Encounter back in? I think Prince would.
Yeah.
I think a big thing is it's obviously stronger than the current version. Sorry, the problems with it are still true. Like, what I mean is they're still like a thing which you could say, is that a bit kind of weird for the first adventure in an entire campaign, which is where this is often falling. Yeah, maybe, like the way it works, but I think it's funny because it's also the only thing in the entire module nearly which feels like something for an experienced party to negotiate round.
It's two fourth level wizards. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. But the rest of it is quite gentle. Then suddenly it's this weird thing where you don't want to fight them, but players might think, let's go and fight them.
When you're done, then like this bitch is going to like berate you for ruining the ritual. She actually wanted to be sacrificed.
Yeah, it's the Karen of sacrifice victims. Yeah.
And these guys suck. Yeah, as you rip the golden owl torques off of their
I was going to say, that's one thing, you get to rob their stuff. That's good. Yeah. So the tomb itself, you open the tomb. It's again, there's a ghost. The ghost wants you to go to Fairy via the stairs in room 6 or 7 and get his beloved to come. He doesn't appreciate two mobbers and will attack them. That's interesting because it kind of, I assume it's that you should prioritize him asking for help, but if you're just there to rob stuff, he will kill you, basically.
Does he, like, he does show up immediately, right? So
yeah, he's there apparently. It goes stone block first thing, pale
like,
ghost.
All right, out of my way, you Casper the ghost, knock
off. We'll look at his stuff in a minute. Yeah, we'll look at his stats in a minute because it's on this one. It's on the facing page. There's a stone coffer. It has the Ring of Soul Binding, which will he will then haunt you. If you take the Ring of Soul Binding, he then haunts you. Unless
you're not allowed to. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it is. Some sort of quest item. You can probably get rid of it.
There's a portrait worth lots of money, but he is angry at you if you try to steal it. Obviously. And there is candlesticks. There's lots of treasure here, but you've got to choose. Are you going to go for the kind of, I should say, actually, almost not counter John's point, but I think it's a fair supplement to John's observations, is that here is a choice where you're like, do you want to follow the story or do you want the stuff that you know gives you XP? The treasure gives you XP.
You can do both, because once it's like, you put him to rest.
Yes, you can. But I'm saying, what about the player psychology here? That's why I'm asking. Like, the player gets to decide, right? So I would say he's 5 HD. He is hard. Aging touch.
That's gonna clean your clock.
Yeah. He's not attacking loads. It's one attack, but obviously he can just kill people, not via system shock, but just via aging them to death. Because you have maximum age in Dolmenwood, so he can just age you to death.
I mean, you can turn him maybe a fifth. Nah, you're not turning this guy.
If you're the third level party, you've got a chance. But yeah,
I feel almost everybody is just going to say, "All right, well, okay, Mr. Ghost, what do you want us to do?"
Yeah, and is that? I mean, would you make that? And I think I can argue both ways to some degree. But how far of a criticism would you make that it seems like there is an obvious solution to this, which is say yes, you'll help him.
There's nothing wrong with having this. Again, the module feels a bit cramped because it's the ghost is like, you have to walk, like, you're like, okay, where is Fairy? He's like, it's down those stairs. It's like, maybe you go outside.
Where is the land of Fairy? Literally right there. Literally right there.
Take the stairs into the land of Fairy, or you fall into the crevice.
This is a tiny bit. I think this is a lot better than what is even called the Hall.
You move through the entire tomb in one turn.
I'm
curious.
If you know the route, yes, it depends. I mean, if you're on exploration speed, no.
5 movement speed. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, as I say, I think it's not as bad. I don't even know. Hall of the Mini Dracula. What's it called? Hall of the Blood King.
Halls of the Blood King also suffers from this problem, but less
But
so than
this is better. Yeah, I think this is better than Halls of the Blood King.
It's less. I mean, this one makes a bit more sense than like a. I mean, I guess it doesn't. You know, you can have a tomb that isn't very big. It's fine.
Yeah, I think the point is Halls of the Blood King is Dracula is a 6th level monster who lives in a 15-room or 20-room dungeon, and you get to the middle and you just kill him. Like that, I think that's the problem with that module, right? It's faintly silly. Like the whole thing, just the scale seems off. It's not particularly epic. Here, at least, I think as a first adventure, you like people turn up and they do this. You know, I'm going to say Sandbox Plots has again not an unfair question. You can make it more generic than his specific, but he says, I've always wondered how many GMs use this module to get their wives/girlfriends into RPGs.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad choice for that.
As something, I think, to put it more generally, as I say, I'm looking forward to rerunning it with my kids. This wasn't the first D&D my wife played. I think the first first D&D my wife played, the first RPG she played was Deadlands. Deadlands, the Weird West. So she was just like shooting Dr. Moreau's Animal Man creations. But the first D&D she played was Kobold Hall for 4th edition. So just in some very simple, very, very simple and linear, but more or less orthodox D&D.
Well, my wife like plays D&D, but I think the moment she got really into it was when she was crawling through the sort of the stone tunnels in the bottom of the Withered Crag, trying to kill the last sort of like hatchlings of the Dracopede after they had mauled one of the party and eaten their eye of the elf thief. So then she was crawling through the dust with like a knife between her teeth, trying to stab the last
Rambo style, Ripley style. Sorry, Ripley style.
It was a beautiful moment. Yeah, I was like, that was beautiful.
But as I say, I think the idea that you might run it for people as something they don't really know RPGs. They might, as John has already said, might be intimidated if you say we're going to go on an epic adventure spanning months of play, exploring a many-level dungeon. There's no objective, just go and get stuff you want. It's more focused and part of the vibe of Dolmenwood, and it always had this. This is one of the things in terms of people grumbling about losing the edges. Dolmenwood always had a mixture of like darkness and whimsy. And whimsy is no bad thing in small quantities. And the idea that this is kind of there's this fairy, and you're like, no, that's cool. Like you go and find this knight, and you're also, maybe you're a knight class, maybe you're a cleric, and this guy is a hero of the church and a hero of the Duke, and he's like, I need my help finding my lady love. And you're like, okay, I'll help you.
That feels where is she? She's in Fairy. Yeah. Where is that? It's on level 2 in the basement. Just
exactly. The idea that it's easy to do that as well. Maybe that's part of what Sandbox might be getting at. Is it's easy to do. You don't have to like.
He goes, like, ooh, the room shifts. Ooh, you
wibble.
Yeah, exactly. He makes that sound.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you're no longer in a basement. You are actually, you pass through the bottom level. You see a line of ghostly candles floating in mid. Oh no, wait, that's in the water pool already. Sorry,
that's in the pool. So you go downstairs and you go through the line of candles. Before the candles, it's just a room. After the candles, it is fairy.
Yeah, you better be sure of yourself, pal. I think he does have a thing where several days have passed when you return to the mortal world, which is
classic
sort of fairyland. You go there, nice icy lake, nice icy tower, perpetual wedding party. Really, like it's like charming.
But, I would say you won't have this in your edition, but there is some nice art. There is some nice art.
Yeah,
like this.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
I'm glad that
that's a new piece you wanted to
Scrap Princess draw this. That would have sucked. That would have been a mess.
I think I said before this about the Scrap Princess. I've seen some of the art. I'm thinking about in what is the one I actually have? I have the Veins of the Earth. I don't have the Monster Manual one. I found the Velvet Horizon. I have Veins of the Earth.
I donated my copy of Veins of the Earth to Cauldron.
Yeah, I've said this before. I think there's a couple of illustrations. I'm like, oh yeah, that actually works for me. And about 90% of them are like, that's not very good.
It's like, imagine this tower here. It's like scratchy, and you show it. Like, your wife, oh my God, what's wrong with the artist? It looks like they
Yeah.
have a problem. Like they have like some issues to work through.
So so you go to this cool atmosphere. It's got a cool tower.
Okay.
I would say it is a thing where you more or less turn up in Fairy immediately. Just to be clear, it's there's no trek across Fairy. As Prince kind of says, you are just going there to go to the tower.
It does have a little, a little whimsical 2d6 dire wolves. Is that just like, so he's like, you know what? Fuck you. If you stand outside for too long, you get 2d6 dire wolves to kill you.
That's the whimsy. So 1 in 6 chance every 2 turns. Mounted frost knights to attend the feast. A raven coming from announcing the arrival of her friend Lord Mantle of Runes. A sleigh pulled by stags rushing from the forest with a goblin sleigh rider with food. And then direwolves. These are the same. That is the thing. Maybe that's good. Maybe you should stop complaining, Prince. Maybe it's like, now you're in Fairy. If you hang around too long, you get eaten by direwolves.
So I think I thought this adventure was too easy.
It's not when you think it's too hard. Yeah.
Wait, it says footprints larger than human lead from tower to edge of woods. Back. Okay. What about the tower?
Yeah.
Solid door, unlocked, polished. If you read this, solid door, unlocked, polished cherry wood, black iron fittings, icy wall, -2 to climb wall, frost pattern window, smashed open, plume of smoke, thin bluish, rising from the summit. Do you see that picture in your head?
Yeah. I think I say this is what Threes of Trees just said was the art does way more, and of course you can show the players the art, so great. But it is a fun thing that actually a box text written concisely but competently is much more atmospheric
would show you that would allow you to manifest that picture in your brain, even though your
to be fair, we are maybe controversially we are like pro box text, aren't we? Generally, as in a small amount of box text is good, not bad. It is the DM doing some of the work for you.
Correct. I'm a box text appreciator myself. I don't mind it at all.
So there is the slime.
Sorry about this tangent, but we're gonna have to go through it, kids. So buckle up. No, the hatred for box text that comes from there's a very specific usage of box text, which is atrocious, and they do it in the introduction, and then it's unforgivable. You're led somewhere, and then the DM he just pulls out this. It's inevitably 1.5 pages of fucking box text, and he goes through it. Right? It's not, a process of you talking to this NPC. Hey, listen, pal, what do you need us for? It's not like we're doing this. We're play acting, but at least we're interacting. No, it's the DM that says, "Sit down, shut up, and listen to my fucking story for 15 fucking minutes." Well, I go.
It's the Giovanni saga. It's the Giovanni saga. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's bad box text. Going with box text where it's just like, hey, listen, you see the room, geez, rough dimensions, see a shadow in the corner. You smell, I don't know what the fuck you would smell. Probably manure. A thick, pungent stench of manure permeates the air. You see a trail of like rust red stains are spattered across the marble flagstones or whatever, the marble tiles of this great chamber. And then, the player's like, wait a minute, marble that has like a market value of about 50 gold pieces per tile. All right, gang, let's pull out our crowbars.
You're meant to do that, Prince. You're ruining the game. What was I going to say? Sandboxbot says, the full pages are only the newer one. I think some of the other art in full color has been shifted either elsewhere in this module or into other books. Because there always was out.
Do you emerge near the tower, and is the forest just there?
So either you drop through the fissure, you either drop through the hole in the tomb and end up next to it, or you come out of the woods, I think, is how it works.
Gotcha. Okay. So the forest is just kind of there to be spooky and scary. Okay. Gotcha. Well, and that's you see all these people that are, let's see, they're mossy corpses piled in the trees. I guess you could do that.
Wood Grooves, Goblins, Unidentifiable, parted by the Troll, Grimmel Gridge, who consumes the moss growing on them. Wandering in the forest, you may encounter giant spinning spiders, frost elf monsters, or dire wolves. So it kind of says, look, here's the simplest of random encounter tables almost.
Here, it's a wilderness that will kill you if you fuck around in it. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. And it's a first to third level adventure. One thing I should say is that in terms of the published material, one thing the Dolmenwood campaign book is explicit about is we're not going to detail fairy in this book. We're going to tell you how to get there. We're going to tell you some of the stuff that lives there, but that's kind of for the DM to decide how much you go into it. For me, in my first campaign, we went into it a bunch. It was something where there were many adventures into fairy, into different planes as well, like different parts of fairy, like the guy who's in charge of dreams, the ice guy, the guy who's in charge of autumn and harvest, that kind of thing. We went to various places, and that's cool. This is obviously meant to be a taster. This kind of, in that sense, it's not a one shot. I think you'd struggle to run this in a store games night slot. You might run it in a full evening, but you'd struggle to run it in a games night slot because the new players are sitting down and they're not going to know how to get through it quickly.
You still have 20 minutes. You say, listen, guys, roll for surprise. Oh, you're surprised. Well, 11 dire wolves show up. They all charge.
But you get the point. You get the point I'm making, that it's just a bit bigger than that. But it is something where, as a kind of a first taster, where you're like, and we went to fairy, and there was a tower, and there was like goblins, and there's like a raven carrying a message from Lord Mantle of Runes, good name for a fairy. That's cool. It's good. It's just that obviously it doesn't give you much of fairy. It's more or less just one fairly small fixed environment in fairy. Like, it's not an incredibly exciting environment in fairy. There's an entrance hall with a kitchen next to it. There's Grimmel the troll and Grimmel the goblin. The goblin will let uninvited people in if they eat a mushroom from his pouch. So there's like a B1 magic cool thing going on with that, which affects
if
that.
you try to fight the troll again, you're just going to get bodied. There's no way you're going to take down the.
Well, not meant to.
We'll go like, actually, our party destroyed the troll or whatever.
Are you doing a Bret Hart voice? Is that? Have you got that from your wife? That Canadian accent.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I practiced that. I'm forced to practice that, actually.
Yeah. I have to pretend to be Bret Hart. It's weird. She keeps calling me Brett. Yeah. So he will kill you. It's incredibly hard. You could be like, let's prepare and go back. There's stuff like that, but essentially it's an 8 HD, 2 attacks at +7, 1d10 plus moss growth, which is an affliction and eats you alive. Yeah. It's bad. I would say I think the way in which he slightly differences trolls and goblins to make them fairy-like is good, and I like it. They're just very slightly different. Goblins. He's a goblin magician. He has some very minor spells, and he has he's vulnerable to cold iron. He's vulnerable to cold iron.
Point here in his favor is that, again, you're sort of, you're rewarded a little bit for paying attention. It's checking the names of everybody coming through the door. You
could pretend to be the guy's family. Yeah,
you kind of get out of this haze. You've been looking at your phone for a while. You haven't paid any attention to what the DM was saying. You're back in the game. You're like, oh shit, wait a minute, wasn't there some sort of knight? Where's Sir Chide and his retainers? Like, okay, come in. Okay, excited cat.
But if you don't want to do that, you can risk the mystery box. The mystery box is mushroom effects.
Owen, what's
mushrooms?
Otherwise you have to drink this cup of my piss. Yes. Essentially, it's that.
It is B1. It's essentially the B1. Like, you roll 2d6, and on a 7 you get a bonus. On a 7 you get an ability score boost. On a 6, you get a second face. He doesn't like you.
Yeah, most of these things are just humiliating. So I do think it could have been almost effortlessly replaced with a cup of piss. But I'm just saying.
Eyes shrivel up, new eyes grow on palms of hands. 1 turn later. This is obviously a Pan's Labyrinth reference.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's a common motif, but I'll cop to it for sure.
Yeah, warm, fuzzy feeling, automatically succeed next saving throw. Essentially, you don't want to do this. You might destroy all your clothes as well. It's silly, but I'm not against it. It's just it's essentially either you have paid attention to something that isn't very important, or you take the risk of something bizarre happening.
Can we get to the point how fucking annoying this box text description of Griddle Grim is? Dude, just fucking
big head, spindly neck.
Yeah. It's like you get all the like mosaic pieces or something instead of giving you it's not the it's like somebody passing you a note and something is written on it, but instead of passing you the note, he rips off the note and he gives you like 6 pieces.
Or he whispers it to you. No, he whispers it to you, but you're missing every other word.
Oh my fucking God.
Chubby, short and stout. Curly eyes.
Can we just stop? Like, I don't know who still does this. Yeah. I'm glad this is sort of gone now. Some people still do it a little bit. It's like if you tune it down, I feel you can get away with this.
Yeah. Of course, as we say, it's not crippling. It's something where, of course, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah,
well, there was a little known but very good adventure called Palace of Unquiet Repose. And what Palace of Unquiet Repose had, like Yokai Gal. Yeah. No. But what I did for example, my any NPC that I had, I just did a single flavor text sentence in italics for every NPC, right? And it sounded like somebody with maybe an 80-year-old man with a gravelly voice, like every smoker would have said it, or like whatever, the Darkest Dungeon narrator, but it kind of like instantly conveyed like what that guy was about, instead of going like, well, he has blue eyes, he's 1 meters and 65 meters tall, I just go, okay, bam, a quick description. That's sort of truncated, so it can kind of like work. I don't mind it, but yeah, just this is it's such an abomination.
Too much.
I hate it so much.
There is an infinite size pantry, and you can find things that are valuable, like rare fairy wines, jelly dreams. Essentially, though, it is a waste of time. You shouldn't do that because it's only worth.
But there's no random encounters, right?
No.
So
maybe you should say, can I spend infinite time getting infinite money and then spend infinite time getting? I guess you're limited by light because there's only light from the fireplace. So maybe your limit. You say, look, how many torch turns do you want to use on raiding the pantry for money?
What do we?
And then you
so they shout orders demanding the PCs help carry more food up to the feast. Is this just like a normal reaction roll where, like, if they're hostile, they're like these frost elf cooks are like, all right, I'm going to give you a whooping?
Oh no, I think that means you just I think what that means is that just happens.
Respond to you. Yeah.
You don't roll a reaction. You just do the reaction you're told to do.
Yeah. What do they do if you say make me beep?
Well, one thing is, I'm trying to work out how this has happened. Like, you've come through. And you've got. Are you just saying to Griddlegrim, I would like to go to the kitchen, please? I'm not a guest, I'm a servant. Maybe you're meant to be able to trick Griddlegrim into going to the kitchen or something.
No,
and then you go to the kitchen.
I think you either trick him into like, okay, you're on the guest list.
Or you take the fungus.
All right, I'll drink this cup of piss. Okay, all right, buckle up. Everybody.
What's in the box?
Hey, you got any more? Yeah. And then the last option is like you're an idiot and you try to fight the troll and just get bodied. Yeah. Okay.
There's the nice piece of art. Look at that. Look at
that. Appropriately, the room looks tiny. That's good. It's well done.
It's a wedding feast for 6 people. It's like, your friend is like, we just thought we'd have an intimate occasion, so we invited my stepdad, my best man, and 18 bridesmaids, and none of the rest of our family. And you're like, what? Why'd you do that?
This elf princess hosting like an eternal, wedding feast, for her betrothed out of stubbornness, and you imagine just like this, I don't know, like this sort of Napoleonic era style,
decadent manner with a giant ball, but it's literally just like her 5 girlfriends.
I'm gonna have this feast until my daddy lets me marry him, and you're like, there's 6 of you,
and it's like some corner. Yeah, there's like 4 other people there. There's 4 guards.
Yeah, so I would say the guests. Presumably, one thing is the guest list rotates. I think is implied, isn't it, by the fact one of her friends is arriving. But yeah, like there are 6 guards and 7 guests.
Going through this again, I gotta say, I probably would have given today. I probably would have given the exact same criticism as I would have to Halls of the Blood King. Maybe not as pronounced, because it's not like the emperor of all vampires in the multiverse is playing traveling bungalow of like 30
do you remember in Dracula where like Quincy and Harker, they go like hunt him down in a bungalow? I remember that bit in Dracula.
They corner him the toilet of his 30-room
bungalow. He's in the kitchen. He's in the kitchen, which is like like one of those galley kitchens, and he's chopping up his own. He's like in his own room. It's
bedroom, and it's like a 5 foot wide, 10 foot deep.
Yeah,
like, there's only a bed in there.
Yeah, it's like a really ornate bed, but it doesn't fit properly in the room.
Up into the wall, so he has some room for guests.
Yeah, and like the reason, the biggest obstacle for the guys hunting Dracula is that it's too narrow to get into.
Oh, shit. No, I remember that.
Sandbox adds meals in the cupboard. Yeah, basically. So it's not as bad as that, because in fact the tomb itself is fine for scale, right? The tomb is like, it's a bit small, but it's fine. It's that you go to this fairy feast and it's like 4 rooms.
Well, I mean, you go to the wedding and you're like, well, this sucks.
Imagine they actually have the wedding, and like, let's say her uncle, because her uncle Prince Manohart is another foster. Maybe he's convinced to come, and he brings like 18,000 elves to this. He's like, so where are they going to sit?
Oberon is coming. Yeah, no, Oberon.
Yeah. He's like, I thought I was going to spite my brother by coming to this, but actually, I feel like I spited myself because there's no chairs.
Where's the wedding?
Yeah. It's also her servants consist. This is, to be fair, the idea that a princess in exile has. I think one thing you actually would be much stronger if it's emphasized was, what if it's like what the guard is like, basically, almost the guard says, or the cook says, she thinks she's having a wedding feast, but it's basically just her exile. Like, she's doing this, but actually, and there's like one guard, there's one armored guard who's like an elite guard, and there's like one guest who's there, and he's like, I'm waiting for the next guy to turn up so I can leave.
So I can leave.
I actually mean that would work. That would work really well. That would be atmospherically really strong.
There would be like a mortal, she's charmed, and perhaps somebody who's like petrified, can't leave. Somebody with a gay song.
Yeah. Okay, they're like, I'm not allowed to. Yeah. So Sandbox. What kind of weddings? Are you also? Do you also come from the Netherlands? You're going to have to tell us in the comments. But, yeah.
This is one of yours. This is an island dweller.
Yeah. What, the island Dutch, as you call them? The British.
Okay.
But no, I think that's the. No, I actually mean that, by the way, is that I think if you change not the scale, but you change the way the atmosphere of the guests was, like, she has 4 servants and a guard, and like 1 or 2 guests, and everyone's a bit like, we love her, we're here to, because we're waiting on her in exile. But frankly, this is depressing. Like, if they were to react like that,
it does say that they are uncomfortably subdued and kind of like quietly sipping wine because it sucks so
also,
much.
it's just they've been waiting centuries. Why are there only 7 of them? They've been waiting centuries. Did the rest leave? Is that actually what happened? There were. But it says there's only 14 guests. But Sir Chide has mum, dad, and 3 brothers and sisters, and he has Saint Sedge, his best mate. So does that mean he's got like 7 guests from his side? 7 from the front.
This is another one where it kind of feels also like he has an idea of a wedding feast, which is very, very cool. But I'm gonna go back to, it's gonna be Halls of the Blood King again, right?
Yeah.
And why I have that is, like, you come here, it has the idea, and then it says, okay, if you eat any of the delicious food, you get you have to save, or you'll have a yearning, and that's bad. Okay, fair. But then you have the guests, and they're kind of like just gonna be there, so you're kind of just gonna be there, like, well, okay, these guys are fucking boring. I guess I'll just go to the princess. Yeah, the frost elf
Yeah.
guards are just gonna say, no,
Yeah,
don't
and you
disturb
can
our
fight
party.
them, but why? You can fight them, but you shouldn't. So the end of that. Yeah, no. Yeah, this is a wasted opportunity. I think. Well, yeah.
There's a similar part in Halls of the Blood King, which I thought that in theory it sounded really cool. And the idea was that you have I believe at some point the prince has a ballroom. Now the ballroom is probably 20 feet wide by 30 feet, so it's not a lot of space. But just imagine it's bigger. And the idea is that this ballroom had like vampires from they're like alien vampires, because this guy, he travels through like the universe, right? He's the ultimate top dog vampire man. So potentially you could have this area of just like all these completely weird alien vampire monsters, and you have to you have to get through that ballroom somehow, and probably some of them are gonna try to fuck with you if you're not disguised or something like that. Like you have the potential for a really awesome encounter. Of course that doesn't really happen. It's kind of boring, but the kind of the idea is there. And I feel an elven, even a really sad elven perpetual wedding party is potentially very exciting. But it's just going to be, you're going to go like, okay, the guests, they all seem kind of like mopey, or maybe you come up with something, but the text doesn't really help you along. So I think this is a little bit of a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, and especially because a lot of the atmosphere is good and a lot of the ideas are good. So the basic idea, you're like, oh yeah, you could do this, but actually it then ends up being weird. As the princess's bedchamber, finally, I should say, I'm going to actually flip forward a page here just so we can see some cool art. This is the cover art, but yeah, that is how I like that. I think that is a very cool way to do the stat bot. Just as a separate observation, I like that a lot.
Right.
It's just enjoyable. But anyway, so you obviously got to fight her. She's 5th level, but she can kill you. She has big runes. But yeah, she can't leave. She wants you to bring her the ring. If you attack her, she will summon everyone to help her. She has very good treasure. My party got this treasure, of course. And basically, she says that she'll give you the jewels. She'll resurrect someone. She can give you an amulet of Ruvenith, and essentially, she'll give you lots of treasure. There's lots of treasure here. The amulet of Ruvenith is a fairy item, which is basically has wish on it. It's worth 5,000 GP if you're using treasure for XP. Dolmenwood RPG adds treasure for XP as an optional rule, which I do use, obviously. It's worth 5,000 GP, and it counts as one wish. So.
In the original adventure, she just gave you guys a wish. I guess this is a little bit more player friendly because you just have it's like a ring of wish. It's easier to use it. You don't have to use it immediately.
Yeah, and you can exchange it for XP as well if you want.
Oh yeah.
If you're using that optional rule in Dolmenwood, which, as I say, I do. So yeah, and no, that is an improvement. That is a very small change, but it is a good change.
It's a little bit of
lots more
life improvement.
Yeah. There's also Narnia wardrobe cloaks, scintillating gowns, fur coats. Again, this is just right. This actually works fine. This actually fits it. Like an exiled princess who has like a small retinue. She's still got a bunch of stuff. She can still do magic, but she can't go anywhere. And so you have to help her. Yeah.
What is she gonna bring in her exile? Like, Daddy, I want my clothes. Okay, all right, fine. The princess, you gotta have like what 40 fur coat, 20 fur coats, 20 gowns. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, whatever. But yeah, it's this is fine. This is, again, it's a little bit soft or chewy, but it's fine. I think this of course is the point of the Elf Tower, and I'm now thinking of a Coheed and Cambria song, Elf Tower, New Mexico. This is a point of the Elf Tower in New Mexico.
Yeah.
It's just that you want the rest of the Elf Tower to be better. So I think we can let's summarize. I mean, there are options. I won't
anything at the end that we want to cover, like maybe
there's basically an epilogue. The epilogue is you can reunite the lovers and you get rewards. If you take the ring to Fairy, the worlds drift apart. and they Suchide and the princess stay in the tower. One thing is you can use your wish if you want to raise Suchide to life or to free. I suppose you might be able to do something else, but basically, nothing can stop the princess being stuck there. But you can bring Suchide either as a ghost or using wish. You can raise him. That's actually what my players did in the first game. Was they raised Suchide using their wish.
So they can be together at last.
Yeah.
Because I was almost like, you can't turn her into a ghost because she's like a soulless monster from fairy. She doesn't have
pretty much. Yeah. And then the daughter, you can steal the ring, and then obviously the ghost will first try to negotiate with you, but then will attack you, and then you can keep the ring. That's fine. The ring itself, what it does is
not so good, right?
It can bind someone to the person who owns the ring. So essentially, it's a ring of mind slavery. It's not dominate, but it's that kind of thing. And if you keep the ring of soul binding in the mortal world, then Princess Snowfall at Dusk and Suchide, then the doorway is kept open. But of course, if the Cold Prince finds out about that, he might start sneaking people through that to invade Dolmenwood again. I think that's an interesting thing there, partly because if you work it out, you could say, well, how about we raise Suchide, keep the ring, and then keep it as a portal. So there are some options there for the players, because you could keep the ring via using a wish on Suchide.
I would keep the wish, and here you go, lady, have the ring. All right.
Yeah. And no, indeed, the wish is probably better, but you see, there is an option there that is meaningful to the players. It's just that the second option is probably not as appealing.
No, it's definitely really good to sort of like consider like different resolutions of the scenario. I guess that's another one where there's really no, and I know that dilemmas and everything like that, they're kind of like overplayed, especially moral dilemmas. We don't really like them so much, but here it's kind of like straightforward. There's really no reason not to help them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I mean, I guess you could say the good module will say, look, there is more treasure that is easily gotten if you work out a way to steal the stuff, but you'll get better treasure but with more effort, and or you'll get worse treasure but with fewer obstacles via helping them, whichever way around you want to do it. I think the one thing is that as soon as you talk to her, you then know you should just go to Suchide and give him the ring. Oh, sorry, just come and bring him, take the ring to her. And so in that sense, there's a bit of a question mark about, it seems pretty trivial. Once you've done that, the adventure should just end very quickly. And because that second half, here's the thing, actually, there are two halves to the adventure. The first half is the tomb. The second half is fairy. The second half is much smaller and less engaging than the first half. And they do feel like two halves, not proportionate. And in that sense, really, the fairy thing is you're going to do this. It's going to be a bit weird. You're not going to know why you're talking to elves at the feast. You keep going. You talk to the princess. You get the solution, and then you just go and do it, and the scenario is over, I guess.
Right.
That feels like a structural problem in terms of the summary. I actually think I like the tomb as an intro tomb. I think it works. I like it. I think there are some problems with it. It starts off a bit dull, but it has a few nice things. I think fairy, though it has lots of potential, doesn't work as the kind of thing that it's presented as. I think it needs to be either longer or it needs to be a bit stronger individually for those rooms. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I would say I think the reason it caught on is probably because it's very archetypal and kind of recognizable, right? If you explain the premise, almost everybody, even people who have never played D&D before, can kind of get on board with this, right? So that's a point in its favor. Actually, this sort of like this idea of like whimsy and D&D is magical, but it's not like too autistic or like there's too much lore behind it. It's actually a pretty good, understandable premise. So that's good. The dungeon, I'm not blown away, but I'm also not, I guess I'm not horribly offended or incensed. As I said before, I think it's a little bit. It's kind of on the easy side. The two dog stone statues notwithstanding, and I concur that the fairy part and the tomb part, they kind of feel like two. They're kind of like separate almost, and they don't feel like a complementary whole. So if
Yeah,
I think
Sandbox does.
I gave it 4 stars first, and I
Yeah.
probably would have busted that down to 3 today. But I don't. I think it's inoffensive. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, Sandbox suggests the appetizer is outside the tomb, the main course is the tomb, and fairy is the dessert. That's obviously him trying to suggest, well, maybe weight-wise, the way to understand it is the main thing you're here to do is the tomb. The rest is kind of just the extras. I think that's not unfair in terms of, to some degree, you're obviously meant to see the fairy trip as an appetizer for this campaign you're going to play in Dolmenwood. You can go to other planes. This one is a really kind of a mini bit, but isn't that cool? Didn't you enjoy it?
It is cool to put something like that in your adventure. Don't get me wrong. I will. Putting the fairy part in there does make it a better adventure than not having it at all and just having the tomb. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's something where if the tomb solved the problem, like you had to just combine 2 things in the tomb in one extra room, that would feel a bit like, oh, okay, that's an anticlimax. The trip to fairy adds a sense of like, this is what the adventure's about. It's just the actual bit in fairy it's a very light and fluffy dessert, let's say. It is, it's just the whipped cream, really. And you really want there to be a bit of cake.
What if instead of, having the fairy transition, you just have a basement and you just put her in there?
Child, why have you got her in a basement?
Just sits there. It's just like spider webs. You're like, oh, what have you been doing in this basement
for the last 1,000 years? Yeah, or 800 years or something. Yeah,
this is my wedding party.
Jeff the Greatest says hello, Jeff. Good to have you popping in.
Anyway,
at the very end, Jeff. I mean, I think 3.5 stars, and I say this like I think I use this for other. I see that as a good. By the way, 3 stars, 2 stars is functional but not very strong. 3 stars is, I think, I would normally think. I think your scale would say is it's decent. I'd say 3.5. Right. Yeah. I think there's enough here that I like it. Oh, what was I going to say? Threes of Trees has an interesting thing here. Putting the dream encounter after they complete the adventure could be fun. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. You leave the dungeon after having rescued this princess, and there's just some crazy Wickerman guys killing some girl, and you're like, "What? I thought this was a cute place where we are helping lovers."
Nerds thought you could solve true love. Love isn't real, losers. Hand over the gold.
Yeah. I actually think, by the way, three of trees. I actually think that is the solution to that problem: is have it as an optional epilogue for the DM's taste. So you make it clear if the DM just doesn't want that content, fair enough.
It does feel very mean to put them at the end. I feel in the beginning it's like you're not invested yet. You can get like a beat down and lose 1 or 2 guys because you miss, you didn't estimate the encounter properly, but it actually feels fine. But if you put it all the way at the end and then you screw up, it's kind of like it kind of sucks to die all the way at the end.
You could retune the encounter so that it's obviously too tough for you. So it's not just 2 Droon, it's also like the Droon have Wickermen and they have like swamp, they have like shambling man type things. So be like, oh yeah, there's like
I think they look tough already. It's anyway, whatever. We have given our views on it. I was going to say, Owen, how much would you give this adventure if you do 0 silly voices while running this? 0, not 1, not 1 voice.
I didn't do silly voices anyway. I say I used to. I've occasionally done silly voices, but I don't do silly voices. Yeah. That's just being island Dutch. No, I say 3.5 stars. Yeah, I think it's a solid, even good at points. There's a couple of good interactions. It's really functional. It has good atmosphere, and it's not the fact that you can see the fact it's easy at points as an introductory module as a positive, not a negative. As I say, I'm thinking about who I'm running it for now, and it feels good as a thing to do. It feels like that's going to work well. I think it between the relative smallness and ignoring stuff like layout issues, between the relative smallness of it, particularly fairy, and the fact that it's hard to imagine running it. If I ran a group like you and John and other people like that, and I was running this, the triviality of it would be very obvious very quickly, wouldn't it? And so it doesn't scale. It doesn't scale to players of different abilities in that way. But as an introduction module, I think it's sound. There is another introduction style module in the. Go for it.
If I had to run a D&D adventure, I guess for my extremely Christian siblings who are fairly young, then maybe something like this I would maybe consider, right? Or I have no experience with D&D whatsoever, right? So then, I would but yeah, for if you're a D&D player, then I guess probably not. But I want to stress that I don't think it's bad, but I'm also not blown away. Anyway, it's lost its luster.
Yes, in the interviewing term, I would add it to a list. So I remember I ran a bit of campaign. This was the first thing my eldest son played in. He wasn't originally a player. It was something we played with our friend's daughter, who we used to like babysit during awkward bits around the school holidays, because she was too young to be at home. And so we played D&D as part of that sometimes. And I ran the Burial Mound of Gilead Wolf Clan, and I ran Them Apples, which is a dungeon magazine adventure by Chris Perkins, which includes a fold-out poster map, which is one reason I did it. And it's not a bad adventure either, to be clear. I like it. It's good. It's solid. But I ran those, and those were both super appropriate. And this would this on its own, without the Druid sacrificing a virgin, would also match that, I think, reasonably well. That kind of objective of and the same with, to some degree, Pipes of Doom and Knoll, which is in the Dolmenwood campaign book, is also appropriate for that. I think the other Dolmenwood adventures, I have them all, and I've read them all. Fungus That Came to Blackswell, survival horror, bit tougher. Imelda's Song involves a kidnapped girl by a goat lord who wants to do weird stuff with her, so no. Ruin Percent Fluid is the high level one for BX level stuff. It's not necessarily a campaign ender, but yeah, that one is tough. And Weird That Came to Drug Bolton is also a bit weird and dark. So I think probably if you're looking to run Dolmenwood to start with for players, either for like kids or for people who are not super into D&D aesthetics, then I think that would be a good couple of, Pipes of Doom and Knoll, Winter's Daughter, and you could probably adapt stuff like Burial. I genuinely think you could adapt Burial Mound of Gilead Wolf Clan and Them Apples, because they're both fairy tale inspired. But yeah, no, good. We should maybe sometime, probably not soon, but we should maybe look at some of the Dolmenwood books, some of the kind of big, the campaign book and stuff. See what you think of that. That'd be interesting.
I do like that idea.
Yeah.
Negotiate with the next. Entry
the next review. Our next stream. Harder. Yeah. You're gonna. It's just gonna be Raji modules, isn't it? Like hard and strange modules forever.
No slop. No, none of Raji slop.
Raji slop.
I want.
You like some Raji modules. I know you do.
I definitely do. I want something. Maybe we can get maybe a Kunz module, or even Necropolis or something like that.
We've talked about doing Necropolis for a while, and certainly a Kunz independent module. The Zayn ones are middling to high level, aren't they? And so is the Druid one. Through Trees says, the Abbey one. The Abbey one is best in this one. Yeah, I agree. I think Druid Bolton is a scenario rather than a location. But in terms of the way it works, the same as Black Fungus. Both those are scenarios, but they're good as well.
The Weird That Came to Drake Bolton, I think, wasn't that didn't that start out as a psychedelic fantasy? So did I'm not sure if it literally did, but Fungus That Came to Blackswell did by Eve Gein. Sorry, that's the one I was thinking of. Fungus
that was adopted. That was adopted into Dolmenwood by Gavin, and then got a rewrite and republication for Dolmenwood.
I hope he didn't remove the power armor. That one was rad. That one ruled.
Yeah, there's some things which change, which are I think he might have actually, but yeah, it's still a pretty good module. I've got a review on the channel actually. I've reviewed several Dolmenwood products on the channel, so I recommend that. There's a question here. We'll finish up in a second, and we'll announce what we're doing next time. But Sandbox does ask, I wonder what the CAG mindset thinks about Gods of the Forbidden North. Little too big for a podcast. Have you read? I have looked at it, and I have not. I've read it in the sense I've looked at it. I've read a few pages, but yeah. What do you think?
I feel when I get my reviewing thirst back, right? When it grabs me again, then I'll tackle something like that. Journey into Malabulge, or like that. Necropolis, I still kind of want to do.
right?
Mhm.
But for now, I'm okay with like I've got some people have sent me some actual fucking novels to review, and I do play reports and that sort of stuff. So I'm okay with that
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk behind the scenes about review stuff next time we're playing. In a few weeks, we'll be playing Vaults of Volcarnos. So our
Vaults
next
of
one's an actual game.
Volcarnos issue.
I actually need to find some treasure.
Wow.
Yeah,
did find
indeed. Yeah.
some.
I did find some. I need to find more. I got some anger. I think who was it? Oh, it wasn't Shahar. I'm trying to remember who it was. Maybe it's Shahar. Was furious that I didn't. I'm thinking it's in session 1 that I didn't investigate a shield. And yeah, it's one of those interesting things about like. I think it's an interesting one when you think about.
Right past that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things that, and we should talk about this sometime. Is why do players who know the game not get perfect results every time? Is almost an interesting question. I'm not sure I'd do a whole podcast on it, but like there's a bit of a question about like actually what happens often is you're processing a lot of different pieces of information, aren't you? And people make mistakes with that.
Especially if you have 6 different characters, you need to like chunk that into play. But I kind of like the idea that adventures are written in a way that you don't always catch.
Yeah, exactly, and you shouldn't. Essentially, it's not that. Yeah, Jamie. Hey, Jamie. Regular player of mine. Ran this a couple of times. Great for introducing new players to old school D&D. Once as one shot, once early on in my own campaign. Yeah, that's kind of what we've been saying, which you might have caught, but I think we'd agree. That's probably its prime placement, whereas for a more experienced group, it might be a bit more of a joke. Anyway, yeah, we will finish up there. We've hit the 2-hour mark. So, yes, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for tuning. Yeah, thanks, Prince, for joining me.
Absolutely. It was a real pleasure, Owen.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good